A beautiful night for the beautiful game. Charlotte Independence, Richmond Kickers. I'm Bruce Silver along with Ross Davenport. Welcome to the Sportsplex at Matthews and Ross. This is a game that Charlotte needs to escape with 3 points.
They definitely do. They're 6 points out of the playoff spot. It's in the Eastern Conference. Richmond, a team they should be able to handle. They've got 2 games in hand on Nashville and Ottawa ahead of them. Must-win game here for the Independents.
7 games remaining on the schedule for the home team. It is favorable, but there are some teams that are sitting above them on the table.
Yeah, after tonight against Richmond, this is the must-win games for the Jacks. The Red Bulls 2 are above them in the standings, but while Penn, Tampa Bay, and North Carolina are behind them, these are some must-win games here for the Jacks.
Richmond in town, and they have struggled when they have been on the road.
Yeah, just 1 win, but this is a team still looking to play spoiler. A lot of these guys looking to play for contracts next season, perhaps.
So we're going to have the first half. We'll have kickoffs, lineups, all that good stuff. When we come back, we are live in Charlotte.
I don't have my wallet, so.
Perfect. You can send a digital payment.
I don't have one of those payment apps.
Perfect. You have a US-based bank account, right?
I have Wells Fargo.
Perfect. Then you should have Zelle.
Perfect.
Perfect.
The #1 mobile banking app just got better.
Does your coach use Zelle too?
Of course.
Another way we're building better every day.
My card.
Misplace your debit card? Turn it off with your app.
Excuse me, my card,
This one's gotta be yours, right?
Yes.
And turn it on when you find it.
Goal from St. Louis!
And a diving stop by Gomez.
And a goal!
What a finish.
Saved by Reeker. Calistri, and it's in! And a goal! Chandler Hoffman, that's a goal by Michael. Big save, Connor Sparrow. Save, Fennelson.
Is going to be on every highlight reel.
Welcome back into the stadium. I'm Bruce Silver along with Ross Davenport. And Ross, tonight, these 2 teams doing battle. Charlotte still in an opportunity to go to the playoffs. And this is a win. When you're playing against a team that's bottom of the table, you have to have your sights on 3 points. And this is the lineup that we're looking at for the Jacks.
Yeah, the problem for the Independents tonight is they're missing 3 key guys through injury, Herrera, Cato, and Smith, and also have 4 guys in international duty. So a bunch of new names in this lineup, including new signings James Kiffey and Connor O'Brien.
And this lineup brought to you by Novan Health. And we'll take a look at Richmond now. And Richmond comes in, team with a lot of experience, just not a lot of points.
No, they had a nice 1-1 tie last weekend with Indy. Only 1 change from that lineup with Brian Shriver in for Matthew Baldock.
A lot of scoring capability in this team with Gentili and Shriver, Neil Halavity in the middle, and the keeper is Trevor Spangenberg.
Yeah, great name. He didn't have a great match last week, letting in a bit of a howler against Indy. Hopefully he does a little better tonight.
Take a look at Mr. Jeffries. Richmond will be wearing the whites tonight. It will be the Jacks in blue, and Richmond will be in white. This team has struggled throughout the year, and as we talked about, especially on the road.
Yeah, but Charlotte honestly haven't been doing too much better over the last couple of months. Had a great start to the season. Really need to get back on track here if they want to sneak into the playoffs.
So we take a look at Mike Jeffries and his squad with playoff aspirations, only 6 points out with 7 games to play. There are points to be had, but they're going to have to really buckle down and work on getting themselves into playoff form if they want to be playing beyond October 13th.
Yeah, they'll be bolstered by the return of Ayman Zayed up front. Veteran, can score plenty of goals. It'll be interesting to see how he links up with Jan Ekra, and then the midfielder Connor O'Brien, the leading scorer, leading American scorer in Danish league history.
You take a look at the boys in blue right there from the Queen City, and this is a team, we just keep going back to it. They are in a position where they can make the playoffs, but it's going to be difficult because this is such a makeshift lineup for them. Players out on national duty, players that are injured, and this is going to be a team that they're going to have to figure out a way to play together early and often.
Yeah, this is going to be a big momentum game for them tonight. If they can win this game with this makeshift lineup, it'll provide a big boost for them going into these final 2 games. But if they fall tonight to Richmond, they could well be in trouble for their playoff dreams.
Richmond will be started up by Giuseppe Gentili, who is no stranger to the Charlotte area, going to school and playing for the 49ers.
He's got some great hair, too.
Always interesting. I did say to you before the game, I wonder what Giuseppe's hair was going to look like, and it is dyed blonde, but very, very straight. And he starts us up. So here we go, the Kickers and the Jacks, and there's the long distance pass. Nobody home for the Kickers. Settles down back at their feet, and they're going to have to move things around as Omar goes backwards and all the way back to Spangenberg. So the possession early on belonging to the Kickers, and they try to push forward once again off the head of Gentili.
Be sure to visit the Sam's Express booth.
That is a throw for the Jacks. Here they come, pass inside, but well defended by Yearwood. If Yearwood doesn't cut off that angle, Ross, it's off to the races.
No, came out well there. It'll be interesting to see where Alex Martinez ends up playing. Now, it looks like he's starting on the left. Spends most of his time on the right side when they have their full team available. It looks like he may be playing on the left this evening.
Yeah, but we had talked about it in this game. This is a team that only has a few players returning from the last game. They're going to have to feel their way through, move people around, and try to find the right formula to get through this game.
Yeah, especially with Alex Martinez. He's talented enough to play anywhere, left, right, or center.
Spangenberg sends it out wide. Ball will go high into the air and settle down at the feet of Gonzalez. Stolen away, and here come the Jacks. Final third, Jordan chipping it forward. That will stay in play for Ekra. Ekra battling. And that ball will stop play, and it will go in favor of the Kickers.
It's good work there from Brandon Eaton there at right back, using his body to shield the ball away from Jan Ekra, the physical Frenchman.
Spangenberg, very, very capable keeper.
He'll be glad to be playing back on grass tonight after playing in the home of the Colts last week and saw a goal skip off that turf and underneath him.
Beautiful surface here in Matthews, and the home team will push forward. Kalungi. And they'll play catch for a while. Ball will bounce around, and O'Brien sending it to the wing. Back heel pass. And things settle down for Umar. Play on, says the referee, Greg Dopka, the man with the Barbasol this evening. Both of these teams with the long distance passes. Ekra sending it into the middle. Push from behind, and that's just a silly foul because when you're just outside, and I'm surprised that they didn't take the opportunity to set it up.
Yeah, Alex Martinez looked to take that one quickly instead of delivering one into the box.
Flicked into the 18, but cleared out by Richmond. Kept in play by Greg Jordan. Jordan will move down the line. Continues to work it, but falls in favor of Richmond, and Richmond will have an opportunity to turn things around. And it has been their personality to send it long distance and then lose the handle.
Yep, it's the direct way of going about things. Interesting to see how long it takes Charlotte to settle in here with especially the two new additions of Kiffey and O'Connor.
Jordan gets himself whistled.
O'Brien, excuse me, Connor O'Brien. Number 2, he's playing it. Looks like he's playing a very deep role tonight, which is surprising considering how many goals he scored in Europe. Austria, Norway, and Denmark.
Jacks going to move forward once again. Martinez pulls up the break, sends it forward. Zayed, open net, loses. Looks like he lost his boot, and he gets the goal. 1-0. Iman Zayed, he is a goal-scoring machine, and that was one of the easier ones he will have on 2018. That one comes in the 5th minute.
Yeah, you can't give a 34-year-old guy with that much experience that he has, that much space. And it was a great through ball.
You get to take another look, and here it is. Martinez, beautifully slotted pass. Once he pulls up the brakes, that left foot forward. Zayed on the run, lost his shoe.
He almost put the boot in as well as the ball. Great
Does
start
that count
for
for 2?
No, unfortunately not. He won't carry either way. It's a great start to the game for the Jackson name, Zayed.
And for a team that needs the 3 points, they're already on the board within the first 5 minutes. This is a team that hasn't had the ball all that much, but when they have been a lot more efficient in the final third between Ekra and Zayed, and they're once again sending the ball forward for the kickers. That ball looked like it went out of play, but the AR was not looking in that direction, and throw-in coming up for the kickers.
Yep, Coach Jeffries will be especially pleased to get that early goal. We were laughing on the conference call about how he always gives his team grief for when they struggle if they go behind early. But that early goal for them will be a great boost.
Brian Shriver has played all over North America in the 2nd division. Spent some time in North Carolina, Tampa Bay, and now here in Richmond.
This will be an interesting one. Brandon Miller in goal is not the tallest keeper in the world. We'll see if he wants to come out and claim this one.
High in the air, headed away by Jung-Soo. But the shot from distance knocked away. Halavity, he took his opportunity. Neil Halavity, who had major reconstructive knee surgery a few years ago, as Martinez is sent to the turf, and that opportunity is done. Brian Shriver, the captain of this Richmond team, and Duckett is the captain for Charlotte. You see that foul on the captain for Richmond.
Yep, Shriver just clipped Martinez as he tried to cut back to his left.
Shriver is a goal scorer. And here is Charlotte looking to switch sides over for Martinez. Martinez loses the handle. Here comes Shriver. Can he make him pay for the mistake? And he is still on it. Knocked away by Miller. Everything was going Brian Shriver's way until Brandon Miller booted it away.
Yeah, Brandon Miller, a very quick, athletic goalie, came out there nicely. Deny Shriver, who found himself on his left foot, but had a good scoring opportunity there. It was good work from Miller to deny him.
So here comes Connor O'Brien, newest member of the Jacks, and they'll build from the back. And they seem to be a lot more patient. And as I say that, it's sent forward quickly for Martinez. Martinez working it inside. And Kiffey, can he get the shot off? He does, but easily handled by the defender.
And James Kiffey, a left back by trade, found himself in an unfamiliar position there. Almost got the shot away.
And now Richmond trying to settle things down. And Ross, what's interesting to me is you see Richmond very effective passing in the back, and that's something that Charlotte's going to allow them to do. But then when they start to move towards the middle of the pitch, they start sending it long distance and everything breaks down.
Yeah, it hasn't worked for them yet so far this season. Again, only one win on the road. I was talking to a friend today who's a big Uruguay fan. They knocked off Mexico 4-1 yesterday with only 36% possession. We talked about possession is no good if you don't do anything with it.
Remember, fans, there's only 3 home games remaining in the
All right, let's take a look at what happened the last time Richmond had the ball. Here's Brian Shriver working around Martinez, and Martinez a little rubbing his racing. I guess you could talk about that when you're in Charlotte, not far from the Motor Speedway. But Miller got enough help from Martinez that he was able to come out of his box and take care of business.
Yeah, Martinez did just enough there. You had to be careful, but did just enough to put Shriver off.
So when you start looking at this game, and you know that Charlotte's already up 1-0 on that early goal by Zayed, but things really not going Richmond's way because they have not looked to just go station to station and march down the pitch. They're going over the top, which works fine if you put the ball on a dime, but when you don't put the ball on a dime, it's wasted opportunity after wasted opportunity.
No, yeah, for sure. Delivery is just as much of the part of the process as the actual reception of the pass. Turn over here.
And they rebound from it, and here comes Richmond with some running room.
It's been a very wide open first 10 minutes here. A little sloppy in parts too.
Halavity out for Eaton, sent back into the middle, and that is a dangerous, dangerous play because if Ekra breaks on the ball the right way, he's off to the races.
Yeah, especially as you see Richmond pushing their fullbacks up, leaves those 2 center backs exposed if a mistake happens like that. Careful.
Greg Jordan dodges, and if Iman can pick that one up, he can't. A little too heavy. It will be Yearwood throwing in and going backwards. Lavity slowing things down and then moving it forward, getting it right back. Long distance pass to Giuseppe Gentili did work, but all the way back to Halavity, and then Williams out for Roberts. And Halavity comes and drops back to help out.
Seems like most of the Richmond stuff tonight's going to go through Neil Haverty. Look where he was right here in the center back position just so he can get that ball and start the offensive move.
Sends it long distance over the top. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, is gets mixed up with Kiffey. And now Eaton throws it in. That works really well if you can deliver the ball to the feet of Eaton, but when he's battling 50-50, 50% of the time it's going to go the other way.
Yeah, Charlotte's not going to allow these fullbacks to, if they do advance with the ball, they're not going to allow them to have too much time on it.
And Charlotte now will send it long distance, and that's one of those passes that does work very, very well. Nice. O'Brien down the line, sending it in, broken up, intended for Zayed. And Roberts was the defender of record on that one. And here comes Richmond once again. Eaton, and that's broken up off that back line.
Fans, we'd like to extend happy birthday wishes to Katrina Penny. Happy birthday, Katrina.
Umar
thanks for spending your birthday
playing catch on that back line, and the defenders getting a lot of opportunity to keep the ball at their feet. But if you're Richmond, you need the ball going forward like they are right now. And Duckett sends it past the touchline. Throw coming up for Richmond.
A good chance for Richmond to put some pressure on here.
All right, so Richmond now in the middle of the pitch and everybody moving forward. We'll see how they decide to draw this one up. Williams has some space to get it to Gonzalez. Gonzalez into the middle, and that's broken up momentarily. Richmond with an opportunity. Eaton just outside the box. Shriver inside the box, but all the way through. Thought it was going to get to the touch line. It doesn't. So Richmond stays on. But that's intercepted.
It'd be interesting to see if they test Henry Kalungi tonight. He's more of a central defender by trade, and they're playing it right back tonight. He's not the fastest guy in the world. Here comes Martinez.
And that had to be broken up by Williams. So Martinez will look to hand it off to Kiffey. And James will work on his options here right in front of the Richmond bench. Finally decides to go to Zayed. Stoppage of play, and they move quick, and a little too quick for the referee.
Yeah, Oscar Omar was a little upset at that. He almost got nutmegged and managed to drop his hand down to stop the nutmeg. And that's what the free kick was for.
So Charlotte is going to talk about their options, and then Martinez walks away, and Kiffey with the left foot. Looks like he's going to go towards the box. Nope. Switched everybody up. Goes backwards to Young Soo. Now Kiffey will work into the middle. Martinez with Ekra. They're playing catch. He gets it back. Ekra will work into the middle and then send it out wide. Plenty of room for Charlotte to move forward now, and that pass just didn't have enough on it. And Kalungi, the intended target, couldn't even break on the ball.
Join the Junior Jacks Kids program this season. Open
Umar.
ages 12 and under. Members get access to exclusive team events, prizes,
And here
and
comes
exciting promotions.
Eaton.
For more info,
And you
check
see
out
once again this play starts with Halavity working all the way back as Giuseppe Gentili.
Oh, careful. Gentili almost got his toe on that.
And he's made a living over the last number of years of chasing after keepers and picking up loose balls. Definitely a poacher in that respect.
Yeah, this game's still in a bit more of a structure now. A lot less loose than it was in the first 10 minutes.
Well, I think it settled down when Zayed picked up that goal in the 5th minute, and here comes Gentili, and it's knocked away off that back line by Duckett, the captain.
It was a key toe by Duckett there. Gentili just knocked it one. You see his frustration there. If he just knocked it past Duckett, he had a great scoring chance.
And he is frustrated by missing that opportunity. Martinez, long distance pass, and he was not exactly sure where he was going with that because there wasn't a blue kit anywhere near where that pass ended up. Ekra now working on the right side. Umar. He'll send it forward. Long distance, it works. Gonzalez, and he's taken down from behind.
James Kiffey upset at that one. I think he thought he got the ball.
Sometimes that play from behind, you only see the player going down, and
it's a harsh call.
Looks like he got to the ball first, but he also got the leg. So when you sweep the leg, you get a conversation with Neil Halavity right there. And he gives me an opportunity to get the reference of the Karate Kid in.
Oh, I got it. I wasn't going to take it any further though.
Nah, that's fine. It would have been funnier if James Kiffey was Johnny.
Kiffey's still laughing about that call.
Does give Richmond an opportunity, striking distance from about 35 out. Giuseppe Gentili, 3-man wall in front of him, right foot coming up, 18th minute. Can't build it up any more than that, goes right at it, hits the wall, and goes through, and Miller will kick this one away.
It was looking initially like that had been taking a deflection, but no, it didn't make any move towards the ball.
Did look like it changed direction. Miller will kick this one away, 18th minute, with his team up 1-0. He'll take his time, Sending this right foot forward, right near midfield, and goes out. So Richmond will throw it in quickly. Eaton for Williams. Now Roberts. Roberts would carry it up. Check that, it was Umar.
Charlotte giving a little more attention to Neil Haverty. Neil Haverty now. Not letting him get that ball and settle in the midfield to start the offensive play.
Williams for Eaton. Eaton into the center. Nice ball movement. Fernando out wide. Gentili. He sends it into the box. Miller snatches it out of the air. Good ball movement by Richmond. They just got a little impatient. They didn't need to send it in so quickly.
Yeah, with Henry Kalungi there, he'll eat up those high balls into the middle.
How about that? North Carolina and Nashville 3-3. That one is a final up in Cary, North Carolina. A few hours away from stadium here in Matthews, North Carolina. Part of the greater Charlotte area. And Richmond now sending it forward. Foot race between Gentili and Duckett. And Gentili is unable to get there in time, so.
Yeah, Nashville result's a good result for Charlotte. Nashville currently sitting in the 8th spot in the West. Excuse me, the East.
20 minutes in, Kalungi to throw it in. And if you're both of these coaches, what are the thoughts right now? We'll start with Mike Jeffries.
I think he'd be looking for that second goal very quickly, especially at home here.
But he's going to have to wait on that because David Bulow and his Richmond kickers have a set piece opportunity from just outside the box. It's a strange angle. Here's how it happened.
Yeah, Bilal Duckett with the loose right leg. Just caught him.
Shriver is there. Fernando is there.
All the big bodies on the penalty spot for Richmond.
Two-man wall in front. We got a left foot and a right foot.
It seems like they're a little too close to the goal for this time. You think they may be starting on the 18-yard box, but they're starting. This ball might be chipped in here.
That's sent through, but cleared out by Jordan.
Definitely a set play.
Umar, high in the air. Headed out of play, and it will be a throw for Richmond. You like the way they drew that one up?
It's an interesting little one. As I said, they look.
Hey, Captain, let me use your back. Flicked on, but off the mark by Roberts.
And the free kick was a little drilling. You're looking for that front flick just to knock those Charlotte defenders off with their timing. Didn't quite work, but it was an interesting one. Just like that throw-in was interesting.
You don't see throw-ins like that very often. You see inbound passes like that off the defender in basketball. You don't quite see the throw-in in soccer go off the back of your captain.
That might be the first time I've ever seen that on a soccer field.
First half action. They're in Pennsylvania. Atlanta with the 1-0 lead.
Another good score for Charlotte. Penn sitting just 3 points behind the Jacks coming into this one.
The Jacks are slowly marching before they go backwards. Kind of like the Sports Illustrated jinx. The second you mention something, it goes completely the opposite.
Of course.
Jung-Soo taking his time.
The pace has definitely slowed down this last couple of minutes.
Charlotte can afford to be a lot more patient. I think Richmond could actually afford to be more patient as well. They're only down a goal. It's early in the game. They're certainly not out of it in any stretch of the imagination. They need to make the most of their trips down the pitch.
Yeah, they're making life difficult for here. Charlotte can't find that first key ball to unlock this Richmond midfield. They've gone back 20 yards in the last 15 seconds here.
And what this does is gives Richmond an opportunity to push forward and hope for the turnover and then be able to take advantage of it.
You can tell Charlotte's not used to having, you miss the familiarity of the runs off the ball especially. It's a good turnover.
Zayed back for Martinez. Martinez sliding it into the middle. Jordan for Ekra. Ekra couldn't turn on it, lost the handle, and Umar clears it out for Shriver.
Ekra found a nice little pocket of space there just on the edge of the 18-yard box. Shame his first touch let him down.
Malavity, ball at his feet, sending it forward. It was intended for Gentile. Hit the back of the foot of Raul Gonzalez. Now Martinez inside the circle. Ekra, and Ekra has been moving left and right throughout this game. Martinez.
Yeah, it's almost as like Zayed's playing up top with Martinez and Ekra with free rolls just behind him.
Fernando Gentile with the back heel, and Fernando sending it forward in just a little too much.
Some good connectivity there, though.
Definitely some nice ball movement to get down the pitch, and you see Fernando. And that back heel was sweet.
Lovely little touch from Gentile. Just a little too much on that pass for Shriver.
But right movement, right idea, and that's something that they should have the ability to do throughout the evening.
Yeah, as you said, only one change from the 1-1 draw last week. So this team's starting to come, maybe they're starting to come together here late. And again, we talked about them potentially being spoilers down the stretch.
Gentile going toe-to-toe with Duckett. Duckett gets the better end of that one. And now Charlotte will look to build forward. Number 1 touches. And how about this? Ekra playing some defense.
Got the hook over the shoulder on Gonzalez. I'm surprised the ref didn't call that one.
Martinez pulls up the brakes, work backwards, looking for some help. Injured player down the pitch, and Martinez sends it out of play so he can be attended to. And you see he went down, and he's staying down. And he'll be attended to, and this is exactly how it happened. Ekra with the hook.
That was no nonsense there. I'm surprised that wasn't called. Very physical. This reminded me of the Mo Salah incident in the Champions League final a little bit when he got hooked.
Gives both of these teams an opportunity to catch their breath, and gives us an opportunity to talk about the way this season has gone for Charlotte. They start out very, very strong, and things have kind of slid backwards for the Jacks.
Yeah, they've only won 2 of their last 16 matches, 2 wins, 8 losses, 6 ties. After winning 6 of their first 11 this season. That's what resulted in them currently sitting outside the playoff spot, but there's still just enough time for them to claw their way back up the standings.
So you take a look at it, 17 points in their first 10 games. Then they go 10 in 10 and 5 in their last 7. If you want to make the playoffs, this is not the direction that you want to go.
No, not at all. But this Eastern Conference, after Cincinnati, we have an 11-point lead now at the top. Still, everybody's pretty tight. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day, as we saw the other week when Toronto beat Louisville.
Louisville in action this evening, and they have some pretty nasty weather in the Lou City. Taking a look at the standings once again, just above the Mendoza line, 38 points for the Ottawa Fury, who announced this week that they will be returning to USL in 2019. Nashville just below them, same number of points, but don't have the tiebreaker. And then you see Charlotte with 32 points, still in the playoff picture, but they have to get the results in their last 6+ games, this one being the 7th. As you look at Eaton, who has been attended to, he'll stay out until referee looks at him and says, you've been out of the game long enough.
Yeah.
It's always about, you know, what, 3 seconds after the throw in?
For sure. But good coach. We'll all be happy to see Brandon Eaton getting in that position he was there on that no foul call. And there's a right back, you know, almost a center forward position. Nice little run from him.
So we're started back up. Richmond will send it all the way back to Miller as Eaton checks back into the game. Charlotte nursing the 1-0 lead. Iman Zayed at the 5th minute put the ball in the back of the net, almost put his boot in the goal as well. Landed and stopped, what, about a foot out?
It did.
Richmond trying to clear out the garbage, but this ball will stay in Charlotte's final third before it settles at the feet of Richmond, and Richmond will move it forward. Fernando had the afterburners on. That one sliding forward for Gentili. Gentili has to dribble out of trouble to Fernando, and they'll play catch. Fernando trying to get around. It does not happen, and here come the Jacks. Into the middle for Ekra. Ekra taking long strides on the ball, slows it up. Over for Armand. Armand for Jordan. Jordan couldn't get that right foot off. Ekra. O'Brien feeling a little bit of pressure from Neil Halavity. Kiffy. This is what Charlotte can do very, very well. They can afford to be patient. They didn't like what they saw. They move it backwards before they move it forward again. Martinez having a hard time staying on his feet. Duckett, he goes backwards. Long concerted effort for the Jacks. Will it pay off? Armand pulls up the brakes, takes the shot from distance, and it's wide.
Nice play there by Jake Armand. Made himself a little space with a touch with the outside of his boot.
30 minutes into this match, 15 to go in the first half. Thoughts on both sides?
I think Richmond will be happy with the start here. Other than the goal, obviously. Charlotte hasn't had too many other quality chances apart from that. Charlotte, I think they might have preferred to have this game run a little loose, especially with this new team they've got out there for the most part.
That last exchange where they had strung a lot of passes together and then also possessed the ball for a good bit of time. That's the type of play that when you're a team that hasn't played together, and I know we're 25+ games into the season, but we talked about it. This is a team that is decimated by injury and also by national duty, that when you've got that many new moving parts, to be able to move the ball around and possess it for about 2 minutes before the shot, that's the type of work that if you're Mike Jeffries, you want to see your team have.
Yeah, it's just going to take some more time of doing that. Again, when you're playing with these new players, passing the ball to feet with a guy that's standing there is easy. It's when you're expecting a guy to make a run and know what kind of runs they like to make, and passing that ball into space is where the difference really shows when you play with guys for a while.
And with all these new moving parts that you have for Charlotte, you don't get an opportunity to really know what the tendencies are of your teammates, where they like it. Do they like it when they're being led? Do they like it off a shoulder? Do they like it left foot, right foot, so that they don't have to turn around on it? And Zayed turning on this one will land at the feet of Fernando.
Yeah, I mean, the goal was a result of the two real class players on the pitch for Charlotte combining. It's one simple pass and a simple finish. Some space here for Richmond.
See if they can take advantage of the counter. The captain slowing it up. Over for Halavity. Fernando gets some help from Eaton. Eaton into the box, headed away. Jordan sending it forward for Ekra. Ekra with some running room. He slows it down.
Richmond got a lot of players up here. Good thing they Good thing for them that Charlotte slowed that down.
Very well could be that both of these teams need to figure out what to do on the counter. We haven't really had much counter opportunity through the first 34 minutes.
I think as we see, if the score stays the same, I think as we see this game go on, Charlotte will really want to push for that second goal. That might lead to some more counter-attacking opportunities for Richmond.
But certainly to this point, Jiangsu and the Jacks have had the better of the possessions.
And as we said, possession is no good if you're not doing anything with it. It's nice and all knock it around all you like, but most teams will just sit there and let you do it until you get in that final third.
And that's a stat that I would love to keep. Not overall possession, but what is your possession in the final third?
That's why you need to get that ball careful. Wow. Richmond players thought Martinez might have tripped himself up there.
Lavity will have another conversation with Greg Dopka.
He grabbed his jersey.
No,
yeah.
Neil, come on. You can't pull the kit.
Yeah, that's a sneaky one. If it's at an angle the ref doesn't see it, you'll get away with it quite a bit, but that one was...
And Neil Halavity is a player with a tremendous amount of experience and tremendous amount of football IQ. One of those guys that can certainly be a leader on and off the pitch. Duckett, the leader of this Charlotte squad. Zayed taken down from behind. But the throw is what will start us up, and Jake Armand.
He wasn't sure if the referee had called the free kick on the linesman and given the throw. He was asking which one it was. I know which one he wanted.
Well, of course. You know, and at this point, I think the referee and the AR are going to have the conversation. Umar having a conversation with Greg Dopka. And we'll officially have a throw-in. Armand towards the corner, battling, keeping it in play. That was a great centering pass. Just couldn't put it on frame. Ekra will have to chase this one down, get help from Kiffy. Kiffy well defended back for Ekra. Good ball movement, and that one just led Ekra a little too much, but Ekra picks up the loose ball, tries to peel off the angle. Trevor Spangenberg put a mid on it. Corner coming up.
Independence corner kick.
That was a great ball. Eaton just overran it. Ekra twisting and turning. Look for that far post.
This corner kick is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. But you get to see the brilliant save a few more times. Spangenberg a few yards off his line. And that one sent in the direction of Spangenberg, but is cleared out by Richmond.
That's a great bit of anticipation by Eamon Zayed there. It wasn't like he knew where that header was going to go. Let's take another look at it. It was Kalungi that got his head on it.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, man, he just made that little run, cut back inside, and almost got it past Spangenberg himself.
Yeah, Spangenberg doing a good job. Oh, didn't even realize off the post. I thought it was Spangenberg that kicked it away. That camera, field level, giving us a completely different look. And that will bring up another Chick-fil-A corner kick, and Spangenberg will go to his office on this one. Will be interesting to see how Richmond marks up on this, because the last time around, they left a few players wide open.
It's been some open bloodies in blue around that 6-yard box.
David Bulow taking a look at his squad, 38th minute. And you see Ekra is the lone man to start us off in the 6th. And that was intended for Kalungi again. And we'll stay where we are. Third time could be the charm for the Jacks. And you look at the veteran Zayed, spent a number of years as the target man for the Indy 11. Another Chick-fil-A corner kick. Jake Armand in swinger coming up. High in the air. Kalungi was the intended target again. Off the chest of a defender, and that one is knocked away quickly by Spangenberg. Trying to take advantage of having a man down the pitch.
That's why you have that guy on the near post. Sometimes he'll leave his post, especially when that ball flies to the far post, but the Richmond defender did his job and stayed there.
Eaton for Williams.
If you have a group you'd like to bring out to an
Halavity will get in the action.
The guest relations stand that's located next to our merchandise
Umar
stand near
will
the front gate.
carry it forward.
More about discounted group pricing.
Shriver
Once again, welcome.
gets it back, sends it out wide. Good ball movement by the kicker, sending it down the line. Another good pass. Centers. Gentili saved by Miller. Gentili was trying to get cute and put it past Miller, and Miller comes up big with the feet once again. And they don't like the corners. After the 3 straight corners by the Jacks, we've got one coming up for the kickers, and see this third corner kick and put on frame and right off the chest and into the hands of Spangenberg, and he punted it away. This is how we get to the corner. Miller, another kick save.
Might have been the best bit of football of the game by Richmond there.
They tried to go short, and it's intercepted. Halavity will pick up the loose ball. Eaton in the middle of the circle. Umar. They'll go back, and Spangenberg will send it forward. And does Richmond do themselves a disservice having the ball in the middle of the pitch, sending it all the way back to their keeper when they have all their numbers forward?
A little bit. I think there was a lot of players out of position there. Notice Mikael Williams is all around the right-hand side where he is now, and a long way up on the pitch, and Oscar Umar was very deep. They were kind of out of sorts there and had to reset themselves, press the reset button to say.
Fans would like to thank our starting 11 sponsors for
Richmond will take their chances on the wing with Yearwood. Pulls up the brakes for Halavity, who sends it backwards.
You have a business or organization you'd like to promote through the Independence.
We've seen this movie before. It's just hasn't worked out for Richmond. Knocked away by Armand. Now Richmond with some space, switching sides. Eaton off the chest. Sent forward for Fernando. We'll see which way this one goes. It goes in favor of the Jacks. 42nd minute, 1-0 Charlotte at home. Looking to stay in the playoff picture. 5 minutes in. Iman Zayed with the goal. Lost his boot. That's all the scoring we have for you so far. Take another look and see, Ross, if this is a corner, and I don't see how Fernando put his
I think he may have called the foul. I think it was definitely off Lee's foot, but I think the referee was looking if it did go up for what could have been a corner, it was going to be a foul. He was going either way. It was going to be a goal kick or a foul. And speaking of fouls.
And Halavity can't believe that one.
And the players are getting a little frustrated at the referee here. They may think that he's not letting him play as much as he should.
Ekra out wide. Into the box. Iman put his head on it, and Spangenberg comes up big once again. And you see that big smile by Zayed.
He's not sure how that one didn't go in. That was actually a great save by Spangenberg if we can get a look at the replay here. Asking his team to pick up the pace a bit.
Armand perfectly on it. Wow.
Spangenberg actually committed to that. He committed to the jump before Zayed even headed it. Just spread himself big and got that left claw to it.
Sets up a corner in the 43rd minute. Ekra inside the 6, keeping Oscar Umar company. Arm on, it will swing away from the goal. He drives it there. And young Sue put his head on it, but it just doesn't fall on frame. Spangenberg will take his time kicking this one away, and he'll keep it short.
Jung-Soo Lee getting a chance to show himself here. He played quite a bit in May, June, but he's only played sparingly since then. But obviously, with the injury and the international break call-ups, he's been called into action tonight. We'll see if he can impress Mike Jeffries.
If you're Mike Jeffries, you're happy with the way that your team has played up until this point. If it's not for Trevor Spangenberg coming up big a few times and big save on the back line, this game is wide open.
Yep, Charlotte they did shut out Nashville in the last game, but before that, actually including that game, they've given up 3+ goals in 4 of their last 7. So maybe defensive changes were needed. So far, they've come through.
Charlotte definitely playing with a makeshift lineup. Players out with injury, national duty. Trying to stay in the playoff picture, in Richmond with an opportunity to be spoiler. Fernando. Umar for Williams. And Umar's kind of been everywhere. He started as a midfielder. You've seen him on the back line. And here comes Eaton. Sends it into the middle, and that ball pinballs away, and throw-in coming up for Richmond. Umar kind of moving all over that back line midfield, helping out wherever he's needed.
Yeah, Bilal Duckett's the same. He can play anywhere along that back line. That was a key interception there. If that ball hadn't found his foot, there was a Richmond attacker waiting to slot it home.
We are 45 minutes in. We'll check on the added time here for you in a minute, but this has been a pretty fast-paced game. They'll have 2 minutes of added time for your viewing pleasure. I didn't even think, well, I guess with the stoppage that we had for the injury, there's your 2 minutes, because we really haven't had a lot of stoppage. But we did have the injured kicker down as Umar throws in.
Yeah, Brandon seems to have recovered from that. Okay.
Sent down the line. Yeah, that's a easy one for Dopka to call. As Umar was
I don't see how he could have been frustrated at that.
Climbing the ladder behind him. Martinez will take his time as we are 1 minute into the 2, and Charlotte trying to decide who's going to kick this one away.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd love to see this last minute out with no major incidents. Take the lead into the half.
They'll also take their opportunity to have the last attack. That ball sent long, intercepted by Richmond, then sent forward by Richmond again. And Jordan catches up with it. Duckett, Young-Soo Lee. Kiffy. Sent forward. This could be dangerous.
It was almost a very tasty ball.
Spangenberg had to kind of toe the line on that one, make sure he didn't step outside of the 18, and Ecker was chasing forward.
So that's one of the hardest parts of being a keeper, is that depth perception and seeing how hard that ball's played and where's he going to get to. Can he come outside the box and play it?
And that's going to do it for the first 45 plus 2 from the Sportsplex in Matthews. The Charlotte Independents picking up a 5-minute goal by Zayed will take us into the locker room. We've got an action-packed halftime, so go take a break, get something to eat, get something to drink, and we'll have all kinds of fun stuff for you. When we come back, 1-0, the Jacks over Richmond.
I don't have my wallet, so.
Perfect. You can send a digital payment.
I don't have one of those payment apps.
Perfect. You have a US-based bank account, right?
I have Wells Fargo.
Perfect. Then you should have Zelle.
Perfect.
Perfect.
The #1 mobile banking app just got better.
Does your coach use Zelle too?
Of course.
Another way we're building better every day.
She go. Come on.
My card.
Misplace your debit card? Turn it off with your app.
Excuse me, my card.
This one's gotta be yours, right?
Yes.
And turn it on when you find it.
Goal! From St. Louis!
And a diving stop by Gomez.
And a goal! What a finish. Saved by Rieger. Calistri, and it's in! And a goal! Chandler Hoffman, that's a goal by Michael. Big save, Connor Sparrow. Save, Fennelson.
Is going to be on every highlight reel.
Welcome back to in a bit, but before we get to that, let's do a little work around the Eastern Conference standings brought to you by Wells Fargo and FC Cincinnati in the playoffs, Ross.
Yeah, we also see there's only 5 points separating 4th and 7th. That's the difference between a home game and a road trip, and then Charlotte down the bottom. 6 points out, but still 2 games left in hand.
Well, they also have 6 games to play, so there are points to be had. And you look at 5 of the 6 upcoming matches, they're going to be on the road, taking on Charleston, and then home against Red Bulls 2 and Pittsburgh, both of those teams in the playoff picture, at Penn, at Tampa Bay, and then finishing up the season on October 13th against North Carolina.
Yeah, it's a good mix there for Charlotte. Those first 3 games against those teams in the playoff spots will be the key ones, and then road trips against 2 teams they should handle.
The Independents still with an opportunity to make the playoffs. They'll have to finish strong in the second half, but before we do that, we'll go around the USL.
See it here as maybe another potential chance for the Rangers. Long range shot, incredible save. Ball knocked over the top. What a touch! Guzman! What a delivery. Header, tipped over the bar. What a save.
It's Kuzane. Oh! Sensational!
Handball. Jay Bolt saved by Ranjitsingh. Lance Lang!
And it's saved by Crepeau.
Are you kidding me? Antoine Opado!
Tina kick save by Spencer Richards. Tina, a left-footed shot. Oh, wonder goal from Jesse Daly.
Headed towards Vega. Did he hold it out? Somehow, Daniel Vega holds it out.
Dennis can hit from this range. Aaron Dennis. Cross header towards the goal. It's Dejas punches it over the top to save the lead.
Fernando Adi over to his left foot. Fernando Adi, his first goal in Cincinnati.
Chambers, he's going to hit it. And Pizer tips it over the bar.
The outswinger. And volleyed in for a goal.
The defense, Lasser 1v1 versus Kuati, who makes a beautiful save.
Enriquez on his right. Skundrich, what a save from Pizer.
Welcome back. Not quite ready to kick it off in the second half, but we do have an opportunity to go around the USL and take a look at the goals and the saves of the week.
Is there enough time here? A bend? Are you kidding me? Antoine Opano!
Lopez, Lang, Lance Lang! That was first for San Antonio. It's an absolute beaut.
Just whistles wide to goal and Moise Pilati. Josh Suggs looking long for the runner of Saeed Robinson. Nice touch.
Yeah, Saeed onside, has some reinforcements, has to slow it up. Now a fire into the back of the net. Saeed Robinson, what a goal! Puts the Switchbacks on top. Super late.
Has options in distribution, picks up Gonzalez and a diving stop from Rawls. Still play here. Jesse Daly teeing up a left-footed shot. Oh, wonder goal from Jesse Daly on the second ball. And S2 takes the lead in the 12th minute.
It's Kuzain. Oh! Sensational! Kuzain!
Goes for goal. Is there a handball? Jay Bolt saved by Ranjitsingh. Jimenez, left-footed delivery. Header, tipped over the bar. What a save, Patterson Sewell.
Here comes Cipollone with the outswinger. Headed towards Vega. Did he hold it out? Somehow, Daniel Vega holds it out.
Trying to score his first Red Bull goal in 2 years, and it's saved by Crépeau. Back in and put behind the goal.
See it here as maybe another potential chance for the Rangers. Long range shot, incredible save.
Ross Davenport appreciated the saves, I know that. News and notes from around the USL. Hartford Athletic, they've got a new coach, and he's familiar in the USL.
Yep, as a goalkeeper, I appreciated those saves, and also appreciate former goalkeeper himself, Jimmy Nielsen, back in the USL.
Walking in Memphis, walking 10 feet off of Beal. Check out that logo.
It's going to look great in neon.
And OCB back.
Yep, glad to see them back in the league. We've missed them, that's for sure.
All right, folks. Last chance to get a beverage, and then we're going to go, and we are going to start the second half. Highlights and more coming up next.
Oh, I don't have my wallet, so.
Perfect. You can send a digital payment.
I don't have one of those payment apps.
Perfect. You have a US-based bank account, right?
I have Wells Fargo.
Perfect. Then you should have Zelle.
Perfect.
Perfect.
The #1 mobile banking app just got better.
Does your coach use Zelle too?
Of course.
Another way we're building better every day.
My card.
Misplace your debit card? Turn it off with your app.
Excuse me, my card.
This one's gotta be yours, right?
Yes.
And turn it on when you find it.
Goal from St. Louis.
And a diving stop by Gomez.
And a goal! What a finish. Saved by Weaker. Calistri, and it's in. And a goal! Chandler Hoffman, that's a goal by Michael.
Big save, Connor Sparrow. Save, Fennelson.
His
be on every highlight reel.
Welcome back to Charlotte, North Carolina. The Independents 1-0 over the Kickers. Bruce Silverman along with Ross Davenport. And Ross, first question I got to ask you, what do you think a beverage is?
A cross between a brewski and a beverage?
That works. I was thinking a brief beverage since it was a few seconds before.
Some beverages there in the crowd tonight.
Okay, first half highlights. And we started up right here. Martinez.
He's showing great patience here. Waiting for that slide ball pass. What a run by
Zayed.
The finish, and the shoe goes just wide. It actually hits the post, I think.
The shot goes in, the boot goes just wide, but you get it from the ground, and you get a much better look at the fact that Zayed can score, but he can't tie his shoe.
Right.
Shriver with an opportunity, but Miller comes up big.
Miller had a couple of early saves to make, but didn't do much the last 20.
Aramon, that shot just off the mark, pulling up the brakes there and sending that left foot wide left. Ekras had a great game, very, very active left and right, and Spangenberg has kept Richmond in this game.
Spangenberg, that was the first of one of his 2 great saves. He's more than made up for that mistake last weekend.
He faced 3 straight corners and was equal to the task every single time, and this was an opportunity for Miller to show that he's got that kick save going.
Going back to the corner thing, as a goalkeeper, you really have to focus on every corner. Know where that ball's going to go. Communication, they can be tiring mentally. And Spangenberg did a good job of dealing with them.
Kind of like the way that the production crew put together the highlights. You open with Zayed losing his shoe, and you finish him up with Zayed putting it back on. Independence doubled up the Kickers on the shots on target. And here's one of the stats, and it's a very misleading stat. We talked about it in the first half. Possession well in favor of Richmond. They're down a goal, but they haven't been quality possessions.
Yep, not yet, but again, they're not out of this game. Only a 1-0 deficit in 45 minutes to get themselves back level, and then maybe perhaps take the lead and put a big dent in the Charlotte Independence playoff hopes.
Talked about during the break that Charlotte was going to have to finish strong. They've got 45 minutes to earn themselves 3 points. 3 points they must have if they want to stay in the playoff picture. We have switched sides. Charlotte in the blues, Richmond in the whites. Zayed, the goal scorer, he will start us up. And it will be Charlotte going from the left to the right on your screen. Richmond doing it the other way. I'm Bruce Silverman along with Ross Davenport. And away we go, 45 minutes of action about to get going from the Sportsplex in Matthews. Almost hit the post on that one. The referee was late. And we started up, building from the back. And that back line of Charlotte has been very, very solid all evening long.
Yeah, as we've said, slightly a bit of a makeshift one. Bilal Duckett's usually a consistent starter, as well as Kalungbi, but Lee Jung-soo and the new addition, James Kiffey, have worked well together tonight.
And here we go, building from the back and moving forward. Charlotte really taking their time. Possession was in favor of Richmond, but the quality of the possession has been much better by Charlotte. They build from the back. They go station to station. Early on, it was Richmond trying to go over the top. That really didn't work out well for them.
It's going to be seeing how Charlotte can balance this calm possession versus pushing forward for that second goal. Mike Jeffries will want that second goal in the bag.
And here comes Fernando, carrying it into the circle, trying to decide which way he wants to go. He goes forward. Now Gentili gets into the action. Gentili needs to get more active in this game.
He was getting a lot of ball in the first 20 to 25 minutes of that first half, but then vanished late. You know, as a forward, you've got to do some work to get yourself involved when the ball's not finding you where you want it to find you. You've got to drop back and get a little more midfielder-ish, shall we say. Look for that ball.
Throw in coming up. Kiffey from basically the corner. Ball needs to settle down. Pinball's in the wrong direction if you're a Jacks fan. Good ball movement by Richmond early on here in the final third. Gentili trying to work it into the box. Takes the shot from distance, knocked away by Young-Soo.
That camera angle is a good one there, because Gentili looked up and had zero help, and 3 of his teammates sitting in the box looking for the cross. And it's really all he had left to do was to throw the ball into the mix, and nothing came of it.
Halavity, very, very active as a central midfielder. Not quite a defending midfielder, not quite a holding midfielder, not quite an attacking midfielder. He's been more the midfield for Richmond tonight.
Yeah, he's the playmaker. He'll be able to make a play, get kickers even here.
Fernando out for Yearwood. Yearwood moving forward. Fernando into the box. Oh, I thought that was right on target. Halavity was running through, but it's cleared off that back line.
Bilal Duckett has that sense to always seem to be in the right spot at the right time. It's not the first time tonight he's cut out what could have been a superb ball for a goal-scoring chance.
Really helped out on a few occasions, just pushing an attacker out wide enough that when the shot came, Miller was in a perfect spot to take care of business. Kalungi will throw this one in, and Henry decides which way he wants to go. He's got Ekra. Ekra gives it back, then sent forward. And now Roberts will have to usher it to Spangenberg. Zayed was chasing. Zayed and Spangenberg know each other.
Yeah, the big question tonight is when Mike Jeffries might go to the bench. With the lack of depth in the overall squad, the lack of depth on the bench isn't there either. I know up front the only real striker on the bench is 17-year-old Gabe Finley. Now, I knew a distant Derek Gebhardt as well.
Well, and I'll tell you, Gebhardt has speed, IQ. He is really active, and he could be a very interesting addition to this Jacks squad. And we've got set piece opportunity coming up as Austin Yearwood is taken down.
Yeah, you'd be thinking that Eamon Zayed, with his lack of action over the last few weeks and his not too advanced age at 34, but you think it'd be hard for him to go 90 minutes tonight. So I expect we'll see Gebhardt at some point in the second half.
But the role that Zayed plays, he can play long minutes because he isn't all that active. He's very much a poacher. He has been his entire career. Halavity and Shriver, both of these guys played in North Carolina when they were the Railhawks. So now Halavity will join the wall, and the captain will use his right foot. Question is, does he go into the 18 or go right at it? He goes into the 18. That's knocked away by Ekra.
Disappointing from Shriver there.
Had a lot more options than he took advantage of. Martinez gathers it, says, come on, cleared off by Eaton. Eaton has had a very good game so far this evening, 51st minute.
Yeah, we saw Zayed's lack of pace there a little bit as he failed to get to that ball. Just be a question, I think, of how much patience Mike Jeffries has. Once this game stays 1-0, the longer it stays 1-0, the quicker you think Zayed might get off this pitch.
Gebhardt, who's got fairly fresh legs, young guy. Could be a good addition to the evening for Charlotte. And Richmond now stringing some passes together. Gentili trying to flick it forward, intercepted off that back line, and all the way back to Miller.
Yeah, with Jorge Herrera, the 37-year-old Charlotte legend, out injured at the moment, and the loss of Caleb Calvert back to the Rapids this week. The stress on these forwards, the independence tonight has been exacerbated.
But good news for Charlotte, they're up 1-0.
They are at the moment, but there's still a long way to go in this one, and that next goal is going to be critical.
Roberts back to Spangenberg. Williams, and he has plenty of real estate to work with. A little give and go with Shriver. Shriver calling for it back. He gets it. Feels pressure and goes back for Roberts. Mr. Roberts. Yearwood. Those passes need to have a little bit more pace on them.
I was going to say the whole Richmond offense needs a bit more pace. Everything's a little too slow at the moment for a team down 1-0.
Need to find a little sense of urgency as Oscar Umar is whistled on the infraction.
Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit www.selectsportamerica.com.
And there's Kalungi.
Receive free shipping on orders over $50.
No hurry to force anything. You don't want to turn that ball over and lead to a Richmond counterattack.
Sent forward by Kiffey. Jordan stops it. Nice slide pass. See which way it goes, and referee is going to point to the corner. So Jake Armand will take the lonely walk to the corner.
He's taking that slow walk like he's already in the 90th minute.
This corner kick is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. And it will be served by Jake Armand. A lot of activity outside the 6. Gentili picks it up. Passes off a defender. Sliding it forward for Eaton. Into the middle for Halavity.
Good build up here by Richmond. See if they can do anything with it with the final ball in.
Shriver sending it for Gentili. Puts his head on it, but Miller will lift it off the ground. And if Charlotte is going to do things to stay in this game, they need to defend that way.
Yeah, that was solid there, although I was expecting a kicker player to be putting some pressure on Miller. Wasn't there. The only play that Gentili had was the knockdown header, yet nobody was looking for it on the Richmond side of things.
Eaton sends it forward. Shriver gets into the action, but that's picked off, and now the Jacks will take their time. Solid one-touch passing to move the ball around. Charlotte will be content playing keep away.
It's going to take that was one mistake. Yeah, Mike Jeffries has clearly told them he wants to take some time off the clock here and don't do anything too crazy.
Well, it's play like this right now that extends the evening of Iman Zayed, because he doesn't have to do all that much. Atlanta still has the lead over Pennsylvania FC, 2-1 now. Here's this buildup. Armand for Jordan. You see this solid passing. Kalungi centers off the head of Eaton. Kalungi for Martinez. Martinez trying to turn the corner on Halavity. Halavity shuts him down. And that shot would have been in if it was not for Trevor Spangenberg putting that mid on it. Corner kick coming up in this one. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Independence corner kick presented by Chick-fil-A.
Let's take another look at that one. Martinez, the creator again. He's shown his athleticism tonight, Mr. Spangenberg. That was a good chance by Connor O'Brien.
And that thing was curving and dipping exactly the way that you want it to. And Spangenberg putting it over the crossbar, giving Armand another opportunity to drive this one. Shriver sends it forward, but the Jacks are there all the way back to Miller, who's 30 yards off his line.
As he should be.
As a former keeper, that's the way you like to do it, right?
Former. I still play now and again, but yeah, no, you
my apologies,
that's right.
partner.
You want it, you know, we remember the days of the sweeper. You know, the keeper sweeper now is the new thing, you know, especially with a guy as athletically talented as Brandon Miller. With his feet, I'm sure he's pretty good as well as he is with his hands.
Yeah, my playing days ended about 75, 80 years ago.
If you were a box-to-box midfielder, that's a little different than a goalkeeper.
No, I was a striker. Armand.
Oh, dear. Oh, no.
Armand, look at this. He earned himself a goal, back of the net. 58th minute, Armand gave Spangenberg all kinds of trouble, stole it away, and made him pay.
Just as we were talking about goalkeepers being good with that feet, and Spangenberg erasing the memory of that mistake last weekend. There's another one from the goalie, unfortunate. Just tried to do too much with it. Just reminded me of that, the goal allowed by Liverpool's Alisson last week. He almost tried the Cruyff turn. He had plenty of time just to got caught in two, but it was the pressure by Araman that made him forced the mistake from Spangenberg.
And it all starts because Armand stays in the play. He doesn't give Spangenberg the opportunity to pick it up off the turf. Gave the pressure. Spangenberg tried to dribble himself out of trouble. But when, you know, you just made the comment about keepers and good with their feet. It's one thing to clear the ball out with your feet. It's another to try to dribble. You're not used to dribbling. You're used to playing it, stopping it, picking it up. Spangenberg pays the price on that.
Yeah, if in doubt, just put a foot on it. I know these goalies now are, you know, you watch the big leagues on TV from around the world. These goalkeepers are, as you said, almost sweepers with great athletic skills with their feet. And sometimes you just got to do what's best for you and your team and clear it away. And Spangenberg didn't do it there and paid the price.
And that is a goal that you absolutely, when you put it on the scorecard, Jake Armand earned every aspect of that goal, from stealing the ball away and then making sure that he finished it.
And when I played, you always like to see that striker put that pressure on that keeper. You never know what they're going to do.
And it showed. I mean, we saw it earlier in the game when Gentili put a little pressure on Miller. And sometimes the pressure enough, the nerves start jittery and keeper makes mistake, as we see right here. That's the type of just very quick highlight that you want to show youngsters. When you are trying, and when you're a coach and you're trying to make the point that this is the way that you put pressure on the keeper, this is the way that you make sure that nobody has it easy in the job they need to do, that is the 15-second video that you want to show them to illustrate your point.
Yeah, it's also the 15-second video to show your keeper what not to do, unfortunately. Yeah, never give up on the play. You never know what's going to happen. All it takes is one slightly poor touch, especially when the keeper gets under pressure. That's when bad things happen.
I was at the gym earlier today and walked in after my workout, and there were kids playing futsal. And really, that game is all about the technique and the skill, and great way to develop the way that you handle the ball and the way that you start and stop the ball with your feet. It was a lot of fun. 5-year-olds playing. It was a blast.
You know, learning to play on the streets. Not that they do that too much in America, but South America, you learn to play on the streets with rough balls and rough conditions on the surface, and you learn to make sure that first touch is critical.
This was actually being played on a basketball court.
Oh, there you go.
It was a lot of fun. There was one little kid who was just really making some unbelievable plays, like that one there by Armand to get it away from a sprinting Giuseppe Gentili.
My indoor soccer days are over. I will tell you that. Broke my hand saving a penalty one time, and that was it.
That was it?
Yeah.
I've had the honor and the privilege over the years to call games with Chico Borja.
Oh, wow.
Who is a legend in the indoor game, in the old MISL, the Missile. Also played with the New York Cosmos in the original NASL, played for the U.S. men's national team. Armand. Jordan. Ekra on the wing, gets it stolen away, but they give it right back.
You're going back to the Spangenberg mistake. It's a shame because up until that point he played really well, and now this game is going to be known for that mistake.
And if it wasn't for Spangenberg, this game probably would have been 4 or 5-0 going into the half. Ekra off the mark from distance. 63 minutes in.
Jan Ekra was actually a roommate of French legend Karim Benzema, the youth national team player back in the day. Still stay in touch.
Richmond pushing forward. Gentili for Yearwood. Halavity gets into the action. Carries it outside the circle. Now joins the action. Gentili. Umar. And that did not have enough pace to get to Williams.
Yeah, Richmond looked a little stunned by that goal. It got a little sloppy here in the last few minutes.
Gentili.
Good work back by the forward.
And goals like that can completely take the wind out of any sail that you've got going.
Well, if you saw the replay, the second replay, Gentili was in the forefront of the. Hold on. Oh, he's offside. It's first offside tonight.
Raul Gonzalez trying to break.
Yeah, Gentili was in the foreground of the replay, and he just put his head in his hands. And as tough as a striker, you're 40 yards away, and there's nothing you can do about it.
And Miller will come up, place it down, kick it away. Only question remaining is where he kicks it. And there's the answer. Into traffic, but it works out for the Jacks. Ekra. And Charlotte will take their time. It's what they've done throughout the evening. Nice give and go. Cutting in, Kiffey got his pocket picked by Eaton. Nice defense by the kickers. Kalungi stepping in front of a pass intended for Gentili. Gentili can break on it.
Yeah,
slows it up.
Now. It's a delightful ball. Oh.
Fernando kind of waited for the ball instead of trying to attack it. But he has a chance to redeem himself, and he commits the turnover. Ekra sending it forward, turning Zayed around. Zayed with Williams on him. Sliding it for Armand. Waited for reinforcements to go backwards. O'Brien. Martinez almost walked away from that one. Gonzalez, and he got picked. Ekra.
It was almost a great ball to Zayed on this. That wasn't Zayed, excuse me. That was Martinez on the streak and run. And a substitution coming here.
66th minute. It will officially be in the 67th minute. Gebhardt for Zayed, and exactly what you were thinking. First man out was going to be Zayed, the first goal scorer in the 5th minute, and the first guy I thought coming in was going to be Gebhardt. So well done, partner.
No, I think with the second goal, I think may have brought the substitution up a little bit. Get some fresh legs up there to put some pressure. You can see Derek Gebhardt's first appearance in a Charlotte jersey.
Also gives Gebhardt an opportunity to get familiar with his teammates and them with him. And they're going to like what they see out of Gebhardt. This is a kid who likes to work the left side. has big, long legs, big strides, very quick, very technical with the ball, and he can score.
You know, have a chance to impress here with the number of players out for Charlotte. Gebhardt on loan from new USL team, El Paso.
Armand for Ekra. Ekra stays on his feet. Lays it off for Martinez. Ball into the middle. It was intended for Ekra, but we got a corner coming up as Kiffey came sprinting in a double substitution. It looks like coming in for Richmond, and we'll get this sorted out. Is looks like Amora will come in and Barnes as well. It's just a matter of who they're coming in for and whether it will be after this corner kick brought to you by Chick-fil-A or before. And as it stands right now, it will be after. In the air.
Shove.
Whistle stops play here in the 68th minute.
Gentili wanted the advantage. He was about to go streaking down that left wing.
He's been frustrated. So we'll see who comes in first. It is Imora for Neil Halavity. So Imora for Halavity in the 69th minute. Neil putting in a solid night's work. And Barnes will be coming in for Gentili. So Gentili, who was quiet on the evening. No, check it, not Barnes. Prince.
Great name.
Prince is in the building.
23-year-old Ghanaian. Well traveled in his short career. Has played in Ghana, Portugal, and Spain, as well as Ireland, just like Eamon Zayed.
Amora. Shriver. And that is sent well out of play by Shriver, and he knows it. And you see the frustration here in the 70th minute.
Yep, Shriver, the leading goal scorer for Richmond, hasn't looked like adding to his tally tonight much.
Moro playing catch. Shriver. If Richmond wants to get back in this game, they've got to find a little sense of urgency. Amora feeling pressure. Shriver, but this is not where you want Shriver. If you want Shriver to score goals, he can't be in the middle. He's got to be sprinting forward like that. Yearwood for Amora. And Amora gets taken right off the ball. Some nifty passing by Gebhardt.
Novant Health is proud to be the presenting sponsor.
Imagine Gebhardt's glad to be out on the field. It's been a while for him to see some action.
Last played in Jacksonville. And as you said, signed with El Paso. Loaned out here to the Jacks as the Jacks are down a few bodies. Gonzalez with Duckett on him. Gonzalez trying to dribble out of trouble. Does a good job to do it. Was crossing it into the middle of that long distance pass intended, but stolen away. And here's Ekra coming the other way. Ekra has Gebhardt and Martinez. Martinez looking for some space, trying to send it forward to Ekra. Finally gets it there. And he had to.
He's offside, yeah. He
had to do that.
Surprised the referee didn't blow the whistle. He was still involved even though he wasn't looking to play the ball. He was just hanging around. Oh, careful. Slippy surface.
Prince.
And that name might be trademarked.
That's okay. Trying to think of the best reference for Prince. If he scores, it's definitely Housequake. Amora. And that finds the back of the net. And Richmond back in this game. Credit the goal to Raul Gonzalez in the 72nd minute. And things now get interesting after that double substitution. We get another look. Prince involved. Imora. Gonzalez puts it in the back of the net. It all starts with Prince. But Imora, and I was kind of curious if after he was taken down, wouldn't have been a point at the spot. Looked like the referee was going to give them the advantage, and Gonzalez certainly takes advantage.
Well, Bullo's looking like a genius now. So one substitute to another. Finds Gonzalez with just enough space in the box and finds the back of the net to make this an interesting last 17 minutes or so here. And no, that's not what Coach Jeffries is going to want to see his team giving it away immediately after the goal. Murray's looked lively.
And Imora gets involved again.
Kids join the Junior Jacks this season, open to all ages.
And here's Eaton.
Members get access to exclusive team events, prizes, and exciting promotions.
Umar.
For more info, check out CharlotteIndependence.com.
Set forward.
/Junior Jacks.
Prince getting involved. Another opportunity for the kickers. That one sent well over the goal. And you look at this opportunity that they have here in the 74th minute. They move the ball quickly down, get it into the 18. Reinforcements weren't there, but they were on their way. Good shot or slow down and wait for a better one.
Yeah. I think when you get that side on goal and that much space, I think you're fine to give it a go like he did, but it wasn't the best of shots. But Richmond looking a lot more direct down the middle since these substitutions have come on. It's a nice ball.
Fresh legs in for the kickers, as well as one new set of legs for the Jacks. Jacks with an opportunity. Jordan trying to cross. Here comes Imora. He's got some real estate to work with. Prince sending it forward into the slot. Fernando was just ridden off. And Richmond has found some life after the double substitution in the goal. And with 15 minutes left, doesn't look like they're going to be content with the bus ride home and no points to show for it.
Interesting to see what Mike Jeffries' next move is. Does he only got one defender on the bench in the form of Bertrand Echo? Will he try to maybe look to pack the midfield and take away some of the space from the kickers midfielders that have found a little bit more since the substitutions?
Richmond with an opportunity to bring it down. Knocked away by Duckett. Last touched. See what we got going on here, and might get your answer. The Charlotte is going to go to the bench and bring in Kay Voser.
Yeah, Kay Voser's been out with I'm not sure if it was a slight injury. Coach Jeffries talked about him on the conference call. He will be available off the bench tonight. 31-year-old Swiss midfielder actually played with Mo Salah at FC Basel. Started 16 in the first 23 games, did Kay Voser, so it's good to see him back out there. Kai, excuse me.
And what's interesting is both the goal scorers for Charlotte now out of the game.
Yeah, the introduction of Voser there is just probably to shore up this midfield a little bit, take away some of the space. We'll see where he slots in. Looks like perhaps on the right side of the center of midfield.
Shriver was trying to cross off the head of Martinez. Imora was there, and Imora will get back into the action. Prince with the slide forward, right on frame, and then that shot just off the mark. hits the side netting.
Prince Akiman has looked very dangerous since he's come on. Another chance created by him here. It wasn't far off the left post to Brandon Miller.
Shriver taking his chances. Played in a lot of different cities throughout the second division. Ekra. Now a foot race. Won by Eaton. Back to Spangenberg. Spangenberg really hasn't been tested since giving up that 58-minute goal. Yearwood. Umar. Roberts. Eaton. Williams sends it forward. Eaton loses the handle. Kiffey with the long throw. Valzer loses the handle. Richmond just needs to move the ball the way they did leading up to that first goal. Long distance pass. And Gonzalez was trying to get there. Defender was in the way. He was ushering it to Miller. Kalungi slides it forward for Ekra. Ekra with some room to work. Voser. Now Jordan.
A little more like it now for the Jacks, starting to get back into their rhythm. Seemed like you said those two substitutions sort of put a jolt into things and knocked the Jacks out of alignment a little bit, but they seem to be back in. It's a good ball there.
Well, it's exactly what substitutions are supposed to do, is
very true.
Jumpstart things a little bit and also show a new wrinkle to the other team, and that's exactly what the Kickers did, and they took advantage of it in the 72nd minute. Two newcomers getting involved in setting up the goal by Gonzalez.
Yeah, it's not just about fresh sets of legs, it's also about fresh sets of eyes and getting a different look at what the opposition is providing. Maybe seeing a few different gaps like they did on that goal for sure.
And that goal set up by the pass from Prince to Amora and then to Gonzalez. And now Shriver. Yearwood sending it into the box. He'll try to chase it down again with Kalungi trying to dribble out of trouble. And that's a silly foul from the angle. So in the 81st minute, set piece opportunity coming up for Richmond, down a goal.
Ref Greg Dobbs has kept his card in the book so far, I think, tonight, has he not? I think that was almost the first.
Hasn't gone to his pocket yet. Could have gone right there.
Gone there, and that was clumsy from Kalungi. And we have another Charlotte substitution.
And it's going to be Echo who will check in after the set piece. In-swinger coming up. Everybody's going to be running on this one, looking to get it past Miller. Surveying the options. Right foot, driven, knocked away high in the air. Richmond did have the opportunity to put it back, and they'll stay on the ball. Imora switching sides. Flag is up. Opportunity over for Richmond. And now we'll get the substitution.
Coming off the pitch, a big hand for number 14, Jung-Soo Lee.
Jung-Soo Lee, and the question comes in that you posed earlier, what kind of change will Jeffries make? It's a defensive one.
Yep, Jung-Soo Lee's no youngster. Played well tonight, though.
Solid as that defender in the back. And Owundi will come in and anchor right in front of Miller for the next 9 minutes or so.
Yeah, that'll probably be a straight defensive spot with the Cameroonian loanee from Minnesota United, 24 years old, Bertrand Owundi. 3 caps for Cameroon. Has started 3 of the last 4 games. So familiar face back there in front of Miller. A rarity tonight.
And that will do it on the substitutions for the Jacks, as Armand, Jung-Soo Lee, and Zayed have all checked out. Gebhardt, Voser, and Echo will finish things for Mike Jeffries and company. Richmond still fighting. Ekra still fighting. Ekra winning that battle. And Fernando.
Gonna have a little word on the way past. There's the first card of the night, it seems.
And that one coming in the 83rd minute. And that was probably one that push from behind, and then I guess the second one. If the first one doesn't get you the card, the second one does. But I think the foul on the other end that set up the last set piece was a lot more foul-worthy or card-worthy than Luis Fernando.
It's probably just a little frustration kicking in. It's probably the first bet of that we've seen tonight, to be honest.
It's one of those things where it's better to look good than to feel good. Now I'm really dating myself.
There you go.
But Billy Crystal would be happy. We have a player down for Richmond, and this has got to be cramps.
Maybe Fernando. I think he actually hurt himself making that foul. He walked away kind of gingerly, and now he's down. Yeah,
he's touching the knee, so scratch my comment about cramps, and it does give everybody an opportunity to come over and have a beverage.
A beverage.
A beverage. That's a thing now.
Gonna make it go viral.
Absolutely. Got to call my attorney and make sure that he gets the trademark on it before anybody else does.
He's feeling that one. Fernando looking towards the bench.
David Below has one more substitution, and he's going to have to make it as Fernando. Like I said, always better to look good than to feel good. And his night will end as he limps towards the sideline.
It's always a sign as a coach when you see a player take his shin guards off, you know he's done for the evening.
Talking about what he felt on the substitution. We'll get clarification in a moment here in the 86th minute. So that's not right. There's Shriver. He's staying in the game. It does look like he gave up the captain's armband. So,
kicker substitution.
So 71 is out. Shriver 21 stays in.
Greg Baby. Exiting was number 71, Luis Fernando.
Boom. Greg Bohm in for Fernando.
Take a picture, get an autograph.
That was in the 86th minute. Miller sending it forward. Jacks looking to run out the clock, take their 3 points, and go up in the standings. Came into this game 6 points below the Mendoza line. And this would put them at least 5, barring what some of the teams above them have to say on this weekend.
Yeah, it hasn't been the most convincing of wins, but Mike Jeffries will be just as happy with a 2-1 victory as he is with a 5-0 victory with this team that he's got out there tonight. He's got to see some of his new players get integrated into the team.
It's one of those games when you're playing the bottom of the table, you circle it as 3 points, and you have to make sure that you finish the drill. And that header by Gebhardt is off the mark. But I'm telling you, this Loney right here is going to be very, very valuable for the Jacks down the road. He can score. I will not be surprised if after Gebhardt gets a little bit more opportunity to practice with this squad, that he doesn't get a lot more playing time if he doesn't end up being a starter down the stretch.
Yeah, with Jorge Herrera out, no sign of him coming back anytime soon, and Calvert back to his MLS side, there's going to be a chance for Gebhardt to get some minutes for sure.
Prince. Now Yearwood. Yearwood has an opportunity on the wing. Pulls up the brakes. Out for Shriver. Shriver, that one touch. Good ball movement by the kickers. Can they capitalize? Yearwood to the line. Looked like he should have been centering. Ball hits the side netting now in the 89th minute. Figure we'll have 3 or 4 minutes of added time when the clock strikes 90. Bruce Silverman along with Ross Davenport. Ross, we look at Duckett, the captain, slow to get up. Gives us an opportunity to talk about what these two teams need to do to finish this match. It's obvious what they both need to do. It's a little bit harder to execute it.
No, yeah, Charlotte's just got to hold on to this ball now. Expect Miller will go deep with this. I'm sure Mike Jeffries is glad to see Bilal Duckett up.
He doesn't need any more injuries at this point.
Especially now you've used all 3 subs, and having to hang on for the last 5 minutes with 10 men would not be fun. A break there with that call.
Richmond has used all of their substitutions. Charlotte as well. And Martinez will take his time and lay it off for Kiffey. Long throw for Ekra towards the corner. Ball will stay with the Jacks in the 90th minute. Kiffey with the easy throw in. And every time that ball crosses that touch line, precious section coming off.
It's going to be a big win for Charlotte. These next 3 games coming up against the Battery, Red Bulls, and Pittsburgh Riverhounds. 3 teams currently in playoff positions. Those 3 games are likely to going to define this Charlotte Independent season. I think come away with a win or 2 in those games, set them up nicely for an easier run down the stretch.
We've got 4 minutes of added time for your viewing pleasure.
I think if they can come out of those 3 games with 5 points at minimum, it leaves them with those 3 games against Penn, Tampa Bay, and then obviously the big North Carolina derby to close the regular season. It would be fun if it came down to that last game against NCFC.
And those last playoff positions often do. Yearwood, Prince, Mora. Umar out.
One problem looming for the Independents is their goal difference coming into tonight was at -12, which is the worst of the top 13 teams in the Eastern Conference.
They've only improved it by 1 so far. Little give and go.
For instance, they're 19 goals behind Nashville. I know the first tiebreaker is wins, but it might come down to goal difference.
Yearwood ripped it. Miller punched it away.
Brandon Miller. He's had a relatively quiet night, but he needed to be alert on that one. It was straight at him, but he needed to get those hands up very quickly to keep that ball out the back of the net.
Richmond needs to keep it on this side of the pitch. Bohm. Yearwood chipping it forward, headed out.
Careful, that was almost a foul throw. He was in such a hurry.
Been a long time since I saw someone whistled for a
right?
For a bad throw. I've seen bad throws, but I haven't seen the whistle.
I think we saw one in the World Cup, if I can remember correctly. I can't remember who it was, but
might have been the last time. Bohm sliding it. Gonzalez knocked away. Prince on it.
Richmond finally showing some urgency here since those substitutions.
A little less than 2 minutes left here in stoppage time.
And Brandon Eaton has been everywhere tonight. He's back in the middle. Never know where he's going to pop up.
And here's Williams. I'm waiting for Spangenberg to come up. Pull the goalkeeper.
There he is, coming up pretty far. Not quite far enough to score.
Roberts. And you go to the goal of Richmond, where it started with Prince and then Imora, and then finally finished by Gonzalez. That would have been the opportunity. In soccer, we don't have the 2 assist rule like you do in hockey.
Right.
We get to look at the Wells Fargo save of the game, and this one comes at the hands of Miller as he punches Yearwood's shot away.
He's actually screened by Duckett. We'll get a good look at it from this angle. Miller didn't get a clean look at it. Oh, yeah, Duckett almost got a flick on it and knocked it away from his goalkeeper. That was a scary moment. Mike Jeffrey's heart was in his throat, I'm sure.
Tense moments in stoppage time. We got a little over 30 seconds to go. And the ball will be at the feet of Charlotte. And Charlotte will take their time.
Yeah, that might do it, I think. Oh, it's a throw, not a kick. Oh, yeah. Referee's making sure he gets on with it.
Ball sent into the final third. And down goes Gebhardt.
Certainly was a takedown.
Umar pulls him down, but that is academic as the game is over. Charlotte Independence 2, and the Richmond Kickers 1. And those are the 3 points that the Jacks needed in this match. Goals by Zayed at 5, Armand at 58. Raul Gonzalez kept it close in the 72nd minute. But the Jacks hang on 2-1. We'll be back to wrap things up from the Sportsplex in Matthews in just a moment.
Oh, I don't have my wallet, so.
Perfect. You can send a digital payment.
I don't have one of those payment apps.
Perfect. You have a US-based bank account, right?
I have Wells Fargo.
Perfect. Then you should have Zelle.
Perfect.
Perfect.
The #1 mobile banking app just got better.
Does your coach use Zelle too?
Of course.
Another way we're building better every day.
My card.
Misplace your debit card? Turn it off with your app.
Excuse me, my card.
This one's gotta be yours, right?
Yes.
And turn it on when you find it.
Welcome right back to Charlotte. Charlotte gets the win 2-1. We'll take a look at the highlights. And Ross, this started us up early in the match, 5th minute.
This goal was the patience by Alex Martinez. Looked up, didn't find the pass initially. Looked up again, and the third time finds Zayed, who has just found a little bit of space on it. You can't give a guy with this much class that space on the edge of the box.
Gets the goal, loses the boot, 1-0 in the 5th minute. Ekra had a great game tonight.
He did. That was a good save by Lichtenberg there.
Ekra, who is active on the left and the right, didn't get any goals, but he certainly was a pest. And then opportunities came for Richmond. They just couldn't make it happen as Miller stood on his head all game long.
That was probably the best save of the night from Spangenberg, I think, there. Unfortunately, his night was ruined a little later.
There's another save there. It was an exchange of 3 straight corner kicks. Here's the dagger in the heart. They're down 1-0. Spangenberg can't clear it. Armand comes up, steals it away, buries the left foot. This is the highlight of how to attack and how not to play keeper.
If the goalkeeper ever has to make a back heel, you know there's trouble coming. It came certainly there for Spangenberg.
2-0 at that point, 58 minutes in. And Richmond would have to figure out how to get back into this game, and they did in the 72nd minute. Gonzalez finds the back of the net.
Yeah, it was a nice little poacher's goal. Just found himself right around the penalty spot. Just that's where you want your strikers, looking for that loose ball.
Time for us to say goodnight. Charlotte, they'll go to Charleston next Saturday night. Ross, pleasure to work with you. Final thought.
Charlotte needed this one, and they got it. Not the way they wanted to, I think, but again, with this makeshift squad, they'll take those 3 points to the bank.
He's Ross Davenport. I'm Bruce Silverman. Thanks for being with us here. Charlotte 2, Richmond 1. Charlotte now 35 points on the table in the playoff picture.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.